Hello and welcome back to another episode of Movie Deputy Reviews, where we are talking about The Conjuring 3, or as it's better recognized as The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Now, of course, I'm just being creepy, because it's Halloween. We are on day 3, and you may be noticing that the poster here looks a little different than the Devil Made Me Do It poster, because the original title of this movie was The Conjuring 3 before they added that other little spooky extra part. But that it really does play into the story here. Now, obviously, this movie has a guilty rating, if you are at all curious about that. And some of the review today, and even maybe some of the trailer, might make you a little uncomfortable if you are not into horror movies, or you are not kind of intrigued by the whole thing of possession and the occult and kind of things like that. These are definitely not the movies for you. The Conjuring series are definitely not. Well, neither is Annabelle or The Nun or any of those other stories like that. The Warrens really went deep into a lot of investigations, and I kind of love the creep factor of the poster here, because you've got Ed Warren, you've got Lorraine Warren, and you can just see like the scream. I would have loved to have been on the photo shoot the day that they did this, and because, I mean, look, you can kind of see the way that her scream is captured. That just really shows the depth of the point that they were getting into these characters. They've really kind of gotten into the groove now of playing these things, people is what I mean. And with doing so, they can really capture that. And as we've seen with the last 2 movies, typically you get the first movie and you're like clear up here, and then you get second, third, and it's like they just kind of start going like this. And usually by the time movies get to a third or fourth one in the row, they're snooze fests. They've lost the point of the story. They've lost the heart of it. They've just kind of going off in a different direction. So it is so rare for stories like the Conjuring series, where you have the first and second one, which both ended up getting mid-7s on the deputy scale. This one still has a pretty decent score on the deputy scale. It didn't drop too much from that, but this is a drop from what we've seen with the other scores. And don't worry, I will get to what that is, as always. But with this one, it definitely goes in a little bit different direction. With the first 2 we've seen, is it kind of builds into that whole, the haunted, creepy nuance of that just unsettling as the story begins, or as the story is told. And you get to the jump scares, but it builds up to them. With this one, with The Devil Made Me Do It, we jump right into intensity. The opening scenes of this movie are just very raw, very authentic, but you're just thrown right in where it just, and you've got jump scares just right off the beginning, just going bam, 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 bam. And then it starts getting into a little bit more of an unsettling kind of thing that is going on, because as you'll see here in the trailer here in a second, that one of the very opening scenes you see is somebody just bloody walking down the road, and you've got this suspect of this brutal murder, and his defense was demonic possession. Now, it's the first time this has ever been even approached, and yes, this again is based on a true story. And so we get to see the story of what happened, and we get to see as the Warrens investigate the case, and we see how the things played out in the courtroom, and so much more. But as always, I won't spoil anything. No spoilers here. The movie, I hate spoilers, so I will never do that to you. If you really want spoilers, they're easy enough to find, as this one did come out in, I think, 2021. But let's go ahead and jump into this trailer, and of course, I will pause it in necessary moments on that. Now, for those of you who cannot see this, the ones that are just listening to the podcast, please come over to check out our YouTube channel, because in the very opening scene of this trailer, you see this dude, you see this absolutely deadpan stare that this dude has. That is so in character. It is so, it's so necessary for the direction that the story goes. Even if you never want to sit down and watch this movie, even if this is not your cup of tea, come on over to our YouTube channel and check out this part of this trailer, because this deadpan stare will explain so much as the story, as I kind of explain a little bit more about the story.
Hey! You okay there? Jesus. I think I hurt someone.
This is Ed Warren, here with Lorraine. All right, let's get started.
Residents of Brookfield were shocked this afternoon by the broad daylight murder of Bruno Sauls.
The court accepts the existence of God every time a witness swears to tell the truth. I think it's about time they accept the existence of the devil.
That is one of the most interesting parts about this case. This particular case is like he's acknowledging every time that we go into court and we place our hand on the, or raise our right hand and place our hand on the Bible and we swear to God to tell the truth. And the court has long acknowledged the existence of God because of that. And until this case, there had never been a public acknowledgement of the devil. And so that's kind of a really unique thing that this story does do, is by the original story about this whole thing and how that challenged that idea to open it up. And okay, yeah, that kind of really gets into some murky waters for some people, because a lot of people have used things like the defense used here in insanity defenses and a lot of other things that try to play it out. But this story was not overdone on that, as to say. They kind of touched on it from a little bit of a different angle, because the accused murderer's name was Arne Johnson, and he had absolutely no memory of what happened until I can't give that away. That's a spoiler. I can't do that. But let's just say they were able to access some of his memories in a way that was not very typical, and in a way that brought out the truth in a way, can I say that any more times? But they definitely didn't expect what they found out.
Whatever is going on, whatever happened that day, that was not Arne.
It's a witch's totem. We think your family was cursed. And that connection's still open.
This part of the scene here, as it's describing, is something that's jumping out of the waterbed and grabbing the young child. And they say children are a lot more sensitive to the paranormal than others are. And so this young boy sensing something and, in a sense, drawing it out. Let's just say if you just still sleep on a waterbed after this scene, you may not want to.
I'm only interested in reality.
But I can see things that your people can't.
And kind of like I've touched on and some of the other reviews, especially in regards to the Conjuring movies, is Lorraine's ability of, like, when she touches things or when she's around things and she senses and sees things that others don't. That's kind of what she's referring to here. And when you have the law enforcement officer referring that he only basically takes things as the truth, and the truth is not always as black and white as it appears.
Something terrible happened here.
A master Satanist is not an adversary to be taken lightly.
She's doing it again. She's reaching out to the darkness.
Lorraine, you need to come back.
Is saving him worth everything you have? Because that's what it may very well cost.
Lorraine!
Now, as you can see, that definitely gets very intense. How far would you go to save somebody in this situation? How far would you go to prove somebody's innocence? How far would you go if the truth meant acknowledging the darkness? That's kind of where the story really goes, and it's really twisted in the way that it gets there. And like you just saw there in the very ending of the trailer, that some things even happened to the Warrens along this, and how they were able to kind of keep going. Honestly, if something like this happened to me, I'd be like, I'm done. I'm out. It's like I may be able to help people, but it's not worth literally my own life, my own sanity. So I have to give them way more credit than I could even begin to deal with on that one. There is just so much that we do not understand about the paranormal, so much that we don't understand about what's considered even normal. And that just tends to go even further outside of that realm. Now, score-wise, I did mention that I dropped this one down just a little bit, but like I said, not too far. This one, just because this one doesn't give you that whole... Okay, it gives you the creep factor. Don't get me wrong. It does give you the creep factor. But it doesn't give you that slow build to... Like when you're reading a good story or where you're just engaged in a TV show where they just keep leaving you on a cliffhanger. Some of the other Conjuring movies have kind of done that. They've built up to where it's like you don't want to miss a single... Like you don't even want to get up and go to the bathroom on some of these movies. And I'm not going to say you do with this one either, but this one... You know what to expect from that first opening scene, from that first explanation of that, where he doesn't have any memory of what happened and how they try to explain that. Like I said, it just goes so deep in so many different directions, but it's not a surprise where it's going. You're kind of expecting that, just because the other Conjuring movies and the way that this one begins. And obviously, this is not the end of the story for them, but. So that's not going to be a spoiler because we know last rites, and that's the one we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So I want you to come prepared for that as well. Now, score-wise, I came in at a 6.5 out of 10 on the deputy scale. Now, you might be wondering, okay, why did I kind of take it down that level? There's a little bit more in this one that you can pick apart maybe a little bit in a few different ways. It doesn't have that same essence to it that some of the other ones do. Okay, you still get the jump scares. I can't talk. You still get the jump scares. You still get the creepiness factor. You still get just what they're promising and all of that. But it just, I don't know, it just falls short in a few areas on that. So I couldn't even stay in the same 7 category. I debated about 6.25. I mean, 6.25 is good story, some flaws. And it's, like I said, it's still a followable story. It's still a true story. You can look up the story yourself and see how it turned out if you want to kind of do that on that. But like I said, that's where I ended up. And as always, it's an adventure as we go through these. So I hope that you are enjoying our Halloween series. At least one of the movies I'm going to be doing for Friday or Saturday, I'm not sure which, I think it's called Stitch Head. It's like one of the new animated movies that's coming out, and it's all about Halloween. But that was one. I was initially talking about all the movies being guilty this week, but I'm like, okay, there's a lot of kid-friendly Halloween movies that maybe I would want to touch on and just kind of acknowledge for that one too. And since that's a newer one, I did want to work that into our Halloween series. But as always, tomorrow as I mentioned, tomorrow will be the Conjuring Last Rites. So definitely be sure to check that out. And of course, this one was the Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, also known as the Conjuring 3. Oh, I guess it was September 2020. Yes, I was thinking it was 21 for some reason. So my bad on that. But like I say, as always, it's an adventure. So I'm hoping you are going to come along. I'm having a lot of, I forgot to show you the podcast image. I'm so sorry. So let's take the poster off of here. Now, okay, let me bring that back up. Be sure to kind of pay attention to where the wording and things like that are on the poster. This is a poster that I made quite a few changes to, and you'll see that here in just a second for the podcast image. That is the podcast image. I took the 3 off of the Conjuring. I put The Devil Made Me Do It. I moved it kind of everything up, trimmed it down. So I still tried to stay true to the essence of the poster on that. And so be sure to check out this image because this is the one you're going to be looking for this particular episode. So be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And be sure to hit that little bell button so you get the notifications when these episodes go live. And you've probably noticed that I've changed the times that they're going live a little bit. I'm getting so far some pretty people are liking the new time that I'm putting it out at 8 a.m. instead of 6 a.m. on these. Some people are missing the notifications before, and I wanted to be sure to correct that. So feel free to shoot your suggestions out to me, and I read all of the messages myself. Sometimes they're a little overwhelming. As a little, like even the toilet paper one that we were discussing yesterday, which of course is not its labels. But my husband was like, why don't you just take it out there? And yes, I need to do that. I just need to find a new home for it. But if you guys would like to see props or anything else alongside in these episodes, feel free to shoot me a message. I would love to try. People were asking me about the movie that I did of Redeeming, or not Redeeming Love, the Regrets. My brain is completely blanking on that. But they were asking about the gifts and stuff I got on there. So I might do a special show on things like that too. But I'm going to get off of here so I'm not talking your ear off. And I will be back tomorrow. So I'm having a blast. I hope you are too. Bye-bye.